Hello, so I'm just going to make another revision video going through these ethical language definitions, yeah, to consolidate my knowledge a little bit. Yeah, so ethical language is probably one of my favourite topics. I haven't done it for a while, so I like saying that I probably don't know that much about it anymore, but it was like actually my first A that I got in philosophy, so yeah. Okay. Emotivism is emotivists say that ethical statements merely express opinions. So when you say something is good, it basically means that you're just expressing an opinion you have about that thing. So I could say that this bottle is good. It doesn't necessarily mean it's actually good. Intrinsically, it just means that I have the belief that it is good. Yeah. And also, I guess this begs the question: are opinions less valid than facts? And debatably yes, but debatably no. It's like if you say something is good, then it's good for you. It doesn't matter whether it's objectively good or not. But then again, it sort of does matter if it's objectively good, because one person might say that crack cocaine is good for them, but then again, that's a complete falsehood, even though they believe it and it's their opinion that it is good. So I guess that's one problem with it. But generally, opinions, I guess, have meaning. Intuitionists, and this is what I've been writing about a lot recently in pretty much all my essays, and it's from a guy called G.E. Moore. He's one of the critical thinkers on it, and he basically said good is like yellow, not like a horse, and it basically means that we can't define what good is, but we're able to point it out, or we're able to go to it. And he also had another quote. Was like, good is good, that's it. and obviously people have criticised him for being intellectually lazy, because he's just saying, well, he's not giving us any explanation of what good actually is, and perhaps he's correct. Perhaps we can't necessarily define what good is, but yeah, we can give examples of good. It's like we can give examples of things that are yellow, we can give examples of things that are good, but we can't necessarily describe and say exactly what it is that makes something good. Okay, Booher theory, a branch of emotivism which says ethical statements express feelings. Okay, so this basically expresses a likes and dislikes towards things, or the way things make us feel. So it's like, I might say boo to abortion, like boo. So that expresses my disapproval or dislike of abortion. Yeah, and this is also linked closely to feelings theory, because they're both branches of emotivism, which is ethical statements merely express opinions. Feelings theory expresses approval and disapproval, and Booher theory expresses feelings. So you can see those two are extremely closely linked. So I might approve or disapprove. I'll say I disapprove of abortion, even though I don't. It's like, yeah. So I'm saying boo to abortion, and that's what feelings theory is. Okay, AJ Ayer, he wrote a book called Language, Truth and Logic in 1935, and it's basically about logical positivism, and this is the idea that, logical positivists, basically, they developed a method for verifying language, which means, basically all of the before theorists, like Emotivism and Intuitionism, basically said that language was opinions, or it didn't necessarily have an objective place in reality, whereas logical positivists say that they basically developed a method for categorizing language and verifying it that way. So it's like, through the means of analytic statements, which is a statement of logic, and an analytic statement, you can basically derive truth directly from it without having to look at any external sources. For example, all bachelors are unmarried men. A bachelor is an unmarried man, so yeah, so it doesn't tell us anything more about the statement. It's true in and of itself that all bachelors are unmarried men. If all bachelors weren't unmarried men, that would be an impossible statement. So yeah, but this has to be true. Synthetic statements is a statement which can be verified from empirical or sense experience. So I could say that my shoes are black. If I look at my shoes, I can look at them and I can see the black. And yeah, but then again, colours are debatably not necessarily objective because they exist in our mind, but from the human experience, we'll go on that. Okay, and then meaningless statements is the third one I came up with, and this is basically a statement which cannot be verified. For example, God exists, and yeah, so that this can't be scientifically verified. You can't prove it, but then again, you can't disprove it. So it's just meaningless. But then again, the fact that can we really say that it's meaningless? Because if people find truth in it and people perhaps derive meaning from the belief that God exists, can we say that the statement is completely meaningless? That's debatable again. Yeah, okay, and then objective and subjective are they're also linked to logical positivism. So objective statements are about observable facts, also described as cognitive. So a cognitive or objective statement is about something that you can observe in the universe. So this is perhaps analytic or synthetic. Subjective is noncognitive statements or statements about opinions. So that would link to emotivism, intuitionism, feelings theory, etc. Yeah. Okay. A normative ethical theory is a theory which says how we should resolve an ethical dilemma in reality. So for examples of this would be perhaps Kantian ethics or utilitarianism, and these basically provide us with the means to look at an ethical situation and be able to work out what is the right thing to do, perhaps by guiding us with certain rules or their theory. Whereas meta-ethics is the study of ethical language, so rather than saying what is good, it looks at what does it mean for something to be good or to say something is good. So it's not necessarily trying to say you should do this because it is good. It's looking at the actual statement of you should do this because it is good. What does it mean to say that that thing is good? So it's not necessarily working out solving ethical problems. It's sort of more like solving ethical language, or taking a deeper introspective look at the way that we use ethical language. Yeah. Okay, prescriptivism. Ethical statements say what should be done. I guess this could be comparable to Kantian ethics again because of the categorical imperatives. You should always tell the truth. Yeah. So that's that. Deontological means focuses on the action and the motive, and this is also Kantian ethics. So Kant, he's absolutist, so he focuses on, he says you should do this and you should always do this. Act as a universal lawmaker in the kingdom of ends, and yeah, it's basically absolutist rules, so it doesn't matter about the consequences necessarily, and that will take us on to teleological, which means it focuses on the consequences. An example of this is utilitarianism or situation ethics, which is utilitarianism is the greatest good for the greatest number. So each situation is going to be different. You can't just have an absolute rule which guides your action. You've got to look at the consequences of your action before you can actually make an ethical decision. Okay, and then ethical naturalism is ethical statements are like non-ethical statements, and I don't quite understand that. Yeah, I'll just leave that last one. I haven't done much revision into that. Okay, so that's basically ethical language and just some of the key terms that I need to remember. Yeah, so if you've enjoyed watching, which probably won't unless you actually study this at college, but yeah, thanks for watching.